Some people do not have one personality. They have a survival mode for every room they enter, and once you notice it, you always see it. The quiet man suddenly becomes loud around powerful people. The confident woman becomes hesitant around a dominant group. The rebellious friend becomes obedient around authority. It is almost like human beings shape-shift depending on who is watching them. And the disturbing part is, most people do not even realize they are doing it. You have seen this your entire life. Someone acts completely different around their friends than they do around strangers. A person who seems authentic suddenly becomes fake and overly agreeable around status. Someone confident in one environment becomes insecure in another. Opinions change depending on the room. Humor changes, body language changes, even morals sometimes change depending on the social risk involved. Most people think personality is fixed, that you are either confident or insecure, dominant or submissive, authentic or fake. But reality is far stranger than that. Human beings are deeply adaptive creatures, and adaptation often matters more to the brain than truth itself. Thousands of years ago, fitting into the tribe was survival. Rejection could mean isolation, danger, even death. So the human mind learned something very early on. Acceptance is safety. That instinct never disappeared. It simply evolved into social survival. This is why people unconsciously scan every environment they enter. The brain looks for status, power, attraction, approval, and threat, then slowly adjusts behavior to reduce rejection and maximize acceptance. Sometimes this happens within seconds. A person may genuinely believe they are confident until they enter a room filled with richer, more attractive, or more successful people. Suddenly their voice changes, their energy changes, their confidence weakens, because for many people confidence is not internal, it is environmental. And this is where it becomes unsettling, because many personalities are not actually personalities at all. They are survival strategies. The class clown learns humor to protect him from being ignored. The quiet person learns silence to prevent embarrassment. The aggressive person learns intimidation to protect vulnerability. The people pleaser learns agreement to reduce conflict. Over time, these strategies stop feeling like choices and start feeling like identity. History has always rewarded adaptation. Politicians become different versions of themselves depending on the audience. Leaders throughout history mastered the art of becoming whoever people needed them to be. Even ancient philosophers spoke about the difference between the public self and the hidden self, because human beings have always understood that social environments can reshape identity. But modern life has intensified this more than ever before. Social media alone has fragmented identity into multiple versions. Your work self, your online self, your dating self, your friend group self, your family self, your private self, when nobody is watching. After years of switching between these versions, many people quietly lose track of who they really are underneath all of it. The danger is not adaptation itself. Adaptation can be intelligent. The danger is unconscious adaptation, when your identity becomes completely controlled by external reactions. This is why some people feel emotionally exhausted after social situations, because they were not simply talking, they were performing, monitoring reactions, adjusting behavior, managing perception, shape-shifting constantly to maintain approval. Watch how people behave around status, and you will learn more about them than words could ever reveal. Some people become excessively agreeable around wealthy or attractive individuals. Others become hostile because insecurity creates resentment. Some exaggerate achievements to appear more valuable. Others shrink themselves to avoid judgment. Insecurity expresses itself in many forms, but the root is often the same: fear of social rejection. And ironically, some of the people who appear most dominant socially are often the most dependent on validation. Their confidence only survives when reflected back through admiration, attention, or control. Remove the audience, and the identity begins to collapse. One of the biggest illusions in society is the belief that authenticity means behaving exactly the same in every environment. That is impossible. Context always affects behavior. The real question is not whether you adapt. The real question is whether you abandon yourself during adaptation. There is a difference between social awareness and psychological dependency. Adjusting your behavior intelligently is healthy. Betraying your values for approval is not. But many people blur the line without noticing. They slowly trade pieces of themselves for acceptance until they no longer know where the performance ends and the real person begins. This becomes even more dangerous in groups. Group psychology is incredibly powerful. Individuals will say things in groups they would never say alone. Morals shift, empathy disappears. People become versions of themselves they barely recognize, because the fear of standing alone can override personal conscience faster than most people realize. Weak environments slowly create weak identities. If someone spends years surrounded by people who reward fake behavior, punish honesty, and worship status, eventually the individual adapts to survive inside that culture, even if it quietly destroys their sense of self. And this leads to one of the most uncomfortable truths of all. Many people are not searching for truth, they are searching for social safety. They do not ask what they truly believe. They ask what will keep them accepted, admired, or protected within the tribe around them. That is why people become different versions of themselves, depending on the room, because every environment silently asks the same question: who do you need to become to survive here? Another thing most people fail to realize is that environments do not just influence behavior temporarily, they slowly shape identity over time. If you constantly surround yourself with shallow people, your mind starts prioritizing shallow signals. If you spend years in environments where dominance matters more than honesty, you slowly become more performative yourself. This is also why solitude feels uncomfortable for some people. Without an audience, there is no performance to maintain, no social mirror reflecting identity back to them. In silence, many people realize they do not fully know who they are without external validation. One insight most people miss is that insecurity does not always look weak. Sometimes insecurity looks charismatic, loud, hypersocial, and arrogant because overcompensation often disguises itself as confidence. Another insight is that people reveal their emotional state more through behavioral shifts than through words. Watch how drastically someone changes between different groups, and you will often discover what they fear most. And perhaps the strangest truth of all is that the more secure someone becomes internally, the less dramatic their personality shifts become externally. Their core remains stable even when the environment changes. They can enter different spaces without completely abandoning themselves to fit into them. The real goal is not becoming rebellious against every social norm. The goal is becoming conscious of when you are adapting intelligently and when you are shrinking yourself for approval, conscious of which environments strengthen your identity and which environments slowly erode it. Start paying attention to when your energy changes dramatically around certain people. Ask yourself what exactly you are reacting to: status, attraction, fear, judgment, rejection. Many behaviors lose power the moment they become conscious. Spend more time alone without distractions, because solitude reveals what parts of your identity are genuinely yours and what parts were built for performance. Choose environments carefully, because every room you repeatedly enter is shaping you into someone. And most importantly, stop confusing approval with self-worth. Social hierarchies constantly change, trends constantly change, crowds constantly change. If your identity depends entirely on external reactions, then your sense of self will always remain unstable. The calmest people in almost every environment are usually not the people with the highest status. They are the people least controlled by it. And maybe that is the real reason people switch personalities in different social environments, because deep down, most human beings are still trying to solve the same ancient fear. If I fully become myself, will I still be accepted? The unsettling part is that many people spend their entire lives adapting to rooms they never truly belonged in. And once you understand that, You start seeing human behavior very differently. The fake laughter, the exaggerated confidence, the sudden personality changes, the nervous silence, the forced dominance. You realize most of it is not random at all. It is survival psychology wearing different masks. Because in the end, the room does not just reveal who people are. Sometimes it reveals who they are afraid to be.